Welcome to Guys Like Us, and guys, welcome to 2026, our first episode of the year. First episode of Guys Like Us, the podcast about the things that you start thinking about when you know, a bit later in life, where we are at the moment. And you think about, and we talk about things about family, leadership, relationships, friendships, New Year's resolutions, like we do today, because it's kind of the hot topic of the moment, obviously, and a very interesting one. And we are going to talk, as usual, me calling him from Vienna, and Marc here calling him from New York. How is it going, my friend?
See you, my friend. Gosh, it's been
Happy
what?
New Year.
I wish you a year of great prosperity, of making shit happen, and being amazing. And you look pretty amazing. I think like you had an awesome trip.
I just came back from 2 weeks in South Africa, landed this morning. Amazing.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I'm extremely relaxed and have no idea how I will go back to the normal
Like
world.
your vibe right now is kind of how I want to feel for the rest of the year. You know, you
Dude,
just
I
are
also would like
radiating.
that, but it would require temperatures that are 30 degrees higher, because
Yeah,
we came from
yeah.
about between 25 and 30, and it was between minus 5 and minus 10. So that's a bit of a stark difference. And that already makes you a bit like this. But it was an amazing family trip, and you know, kids loved it. We loved it. You know, with friends and stuff. So it was really, really good. We could actually do an overseas trip episode one of these days.
No,
It
we
was
should
super
do
fun.
that.
Super
Cool.
fun. Super fun. How are you doing?
Nice.
How were the holidays? How did it go?
Good.
What did you do for New
we
Year's?
did a staycation, which was awesome. Well, we spent a lot of family time, all good things. Two highlights would be, never tell you my dad always dresses up as Santa Claus to like for the
You
kids.
did, yeah.
Yeah. So he had kind of a pretty good showing. We were always worried that are the kids going to find out? Is this the year that the kids
But
find out?
they still don't.
Although he does it from the distance now. I was like, Dad, do not come into the house. You know,
Yeah,
like,
because also
especially
it's walking on the
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like hello and like leaves. You know, and so that was good. I took my son Felix, my eldest, to see Zauberflöte at the Metropolitan Opera, which is like they have a nice kids version. It was amazing.
Dude,
And he was like,
amazing.
yeah. The funny part is
Very
that I
nice.
forgot to take him to the bathroom before, you know, and I was like thinking we just made it in, you know, and I was like, is he gonna make it all the way through, you know? And sure enough, around the end of the second act, I just felt this warm kind of thing on my leg, and I was like, oh, he's just relaxing and peeing on.
I can tell you, my daughter makes it through a 12-hour flight without going to pee once, because she thinks that airplane toilets are gross.
She's absolutely right, and she's but I would still do
Yeah.
that. Yeah. My New Year's party, so I'm sharing 3, but was so much fun because I went to Robin, the Swedish pop star. Yeah. She did this crazy party out in Brooklyn, and it was like a big gay bash. And the funniest thing is, like, I thought like the concert says 9 p.m., you know? So I was like, oh, well, we'll go till noon, midnight, and then she'll do the countdown, we'll leave. And then I was at an earlier party, and I was sharing the news, and this guy was like, oh my God, you're going to Robin? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I was going to get tickets to that too. I was like, cool, why not? And he said, well, she's only coming on at 1 a.m. I was like, spat out my drink. I was like, 1 a.m.
I'm going to be sleeping.
Exactly.
How long did you make it?
We went till 4, but we had some help, you know, like there's no other way. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I get that. Oh man,
But it
that's
felt
nice
good to
though.
enter the year like that. Oh yeah. It was like
With a bang.
big
And so
splash party.
which drink are we sharing tonight or today?
Well, I should ask you. I'm unfortunately midday, so I'm being sponsored by Trader Joe's ginger turmeric tea. Yeah, it's
I'm sponsored. Is a bottle of San Pellegrino that I picked up at Zurich Airport this morning.
Did you
really? Really? No, it's true. And I just found in my backpack when I unpacked. So that's what I'm
Oh
drinking.
my God, this is
today.
a sober episode. Jeez. Okay, well, actually, that's good for on point and on theme.
Exactly,
It's January.
because let me just quickly look this up. I think it was on in the Eden of December that your dear Mark Winter wrote a message into a chat saying it was on the 28th of December where you said, and I quote you, we should do an episode for New Year's, quote, the art and science of New Year's resolutions and why dry January is bullshit.
Yeah, that's a good
So
one.
I think,
Sounds like me.
yeah, exactly. So I take from this, I mean, being so the empathic leader that I am, that you don't think New Year's resolutions are a great idea,
You know,
or do you?
I do not, and it's funny, like,
Hmm.
just to throw out some other stats out about at least US ones, I think, like, a third of Americans say they make at least one, New Year's resolution each year, one third, and most of them tend to be, like and this is telling, by the way, 50% of those tend to be between 18 and 29,
Yeah,
and
it's
just
very
goes
telling.
downhill from there as everyone
Yeah,
realizes at some point it'll work.
it is true. I think it's actually this is an experience curve.
Yeah, it's totally the
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
curve that you need.
Over 65, I think is only 15%,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
basically the superstitious bunch.
Totally, totally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then, what they're making their New Year's resolutions on tend to be more about health and fitness, of course, that's obvious. And this is also why I think they're bullshit. You know how many times I'm like, this is the year I'm getting a six pack, and it just disappears. And then financial goals make sense, paying off debt, saving more money. And then some people want, personal growth, those kinds of ones. But, health and wellness and financial goals make sense, as a
It makes sense.
New
But
Year's resolutions.
what I found interesting about this statue on a side note here is like how they developed over the past few years, because like 21 was 24, I think number one was in the US, saving more money, then it was exercising,
Mm,
and I was eating
mm,
healthier. 25 was actually physical fitness is number one, managing money, is number two,
mm.
family and mental health is number three. So that's a new contender in the top three. And 26 apparently is a lot about exercising more, being happy, and eating healthier. So the being wealthy out of that, which I find is an interesting, I don't know if that's a longer term trend, but I thought that was interesting that, you come from the money piece and the physical, which are the classic ones. And by the way, and then the money and saving is dominating in Asia, and is not in the mix in Europe, because in Europe it's very consistently about exercise, fitness, eating healthier, lose weight. That's it. That's all we care about. This
Do you
is
know?
our champagne problem
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
central. Yeah, I would say.
Do you know what Happy New Year is in Chinese? Is it Gongxi Fai La? Hold on. And do you know what it means? Uh, it means hope you get rich.
Here we go. But
There you go.
anyways, okay. So what you're saying is, you were saying is it's bullshit because no one actually ever keeps the
Yes.
New Year's resolutions
Can
anyways.
I throw out some stats on that too, just real quick, so we
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, why don't you guess what percentage of people stop in the first?
The first week, I don't know, 25.
Yeah, exactly right. 22 to 23%
Really?
stop within the first week. Yeah.
Huh.
How many stop in the first month?
I guess another 25. So 50.
40%. Close. There's some that, stick with it. And on average, how long does a typical resolution last?
I mean, I can say from my own experience, 2 months.
Okay. 3.7 months, they say,
Okay, I'm a quitter.
Only 8 to 9 actually say they actually feel like they keep their resolutions, for that.
But there is a thing that I found that there is, it comes from Strava, the fitness tracking app,
Mm, mm,
which we both use. It's called Quitter's Day, and it says that
yes.
this is the second Friday in January remains the peak day for people to abandon their fitness tracking goals, which is like fucking fast. That's why I thought about the 2 months. So I mean, this is really not even. It's not even trying. And it's the second Friday. I love this. It's like, let's do dry January and go for the round. You go for two
Yeah,
runs. You're like
exactly.
completely depressed. Second Friday, you get hammered
Oh
again.
my
And it's like, oh
god,
fuck it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so the stats kind of say that it's. But may I remind you? I know, and I didn't look, that I don't know, somewhere in 2015, 16, 17 around, you sent me once, which I found very inspiring, a kind of a vision board. I don't know how you call it, for
Yes.
your year.
Oh my god, yes. Actually, I should bring that up
That's
again.
I wonder, how this transition happened. And this vision board, guys, was great. It was, straight out of consulting, kind of, but of the creative kind, in a beautifully. I think basically was, I think, almost like a copy from like the Starbucks vision. So how is what's
Yeah,
important to me in my life, professionally,
exactly.
personally,
A
blah
copy
blah
from
blah, in the next
the
years. What are the top three things? How am I going to
transformation
measure it?
agenda.
And then
Yeah.
I want to share it with all of my friends. Transformation. I'm going to share it with my friends, so I have like kind of a responsibility partner in a sense, right? So to make it more real. So what happened? What happened in the last 10 years? That you
Well,
came from
I
a fucking vision board for the next year to New Year's resolutions are bullshit.
well, first of all, great provocation, and I should bring that up because I need to do more of that. And thank you for reminding me of that. That was really cool. And actually, I did a lot of those things
Yeah.
in the vision board,
And it
which is
said also
amazing.
write something, write more. I remember that. And that's actually
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you started writing
yeah, yeah,
too and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was trying to be transparent and in the hope that someone will hold me accountable instead of just talking all the time. Um, I think there's this quote. So first of all, I think I'm a believer in the power of a new year. Absolutely.
Hmm.
There's something about entering a new date, a new year, a year of deciding what you want to let go, what you want to keep, what do you want to try new, and I think that is always it's a natural reset and a rhythm, for people. From a mindset perspective, I think it's really powerful. How you harness that is really important. I think resolutions are they tend to be more narrow or a little bit smaller. I mean, if they're goals, that's fine. But I want to kind of like level it up a little bit. To me, for me, a more helpful paradigm. There's this lovely quote that I love. Is like there are years that ask questions and years that answer. And I think a helpful way in is like, is this a year of asking questions, myself and et cetera, or is this a year of answering them?
Hmm.
And I find that interesting guiding principle, of stepping into a year.
I love that. That's beautiful. I mean, there's so much in there. I did write, I think, on the 31st of December, and I looked a few times on my vacation on LinkedIn as a matter of habit rather than anything else.
Mm,
And
same.
then we were very nicely, close by the coast, and there's this beautiful, beach walk, and I walked there, and and I kind of also started thinking, and I started thinking how weird, not how weird, but it obviously is that change of the year, the time of the year too, where we have more time, because for the most parts of the world, the time stops a little bit, and really for the most part, which is kind of the only time of the year where I feel you can really also switch off everything and be okay with
Yes.
it, because people are celebrating and are with their families, and nothing really happens over at least a week or so. So I think that kind of coincides with that, and how luckily and thankfully, we take the time to reflect, and it's a great thing to do that. And my next thought though was, "Fuck, we only do that once a year. I mean, we shouldn't we be doing that,
Yeah.
actually on a monthly basis, or even on a weekly basis, or actually on a daily basis?" Which got me back to
Uh,
all those, rituals, if you want, of like journaling or breathing and this whole presence and mindfulness thing. Because in the end,
it's huge.
things is huge. So I think the act is beautiful, and it is something that is really, really great. And I was just wishing, to transfer it into the professional context. Every time you do, a nice strategy workshop with your team, you always come out of this and say, we should do this at least quarterly and not only
I
once a
know,
year.
I
And it
know,
never
I
happens.
know.
And it rarely ever happens that someone actually takes the time out. And it's such another reminder of how important this is, I think, and how much we should just take the time and do it and reflect and think about it, and listen to ourselves, and whether we're happy or not, or so yeah, that was kind of my thoughts on that.
They all resonate. Do you think like it's Okay, so you're ruminating a little bit on the house, right? Which is
Listen,
like
I'm not on the house. I wanted to get to. I was actually, when I read your message, I was like, yeah, I agree. That's total bullshit. And dry January is too, and
yeah,
so
it's the
on.
worst. Who
Although
wants
I'm
to do that?
drinking
Yeah,
water, and I
yeah.
really need to do something because I was on a 2 week bender that took a toll. Yeah, and I don't fit into anything anymore, so I need to do something. And I'm gonna. And actually, also over this course of the holiday, there were a few things I thought about that actually ended up as a resolution in my head, where I said, I want to use this year for some things. And I think, and I'm happy to share it. I boiled
Please.
it down on a few. One thing is a physical thing or a health thing that I've just been, I think it's old age, but despite all the sports I do, having problems with my back and stuff, so I need to do something on mobility, and I really need to create a habit, which I have managed for lots of things, but somehow not for the boring task of stretching every morning. So this is very
Mm,
boring, but I need to fucking start doing this because
mm.
sometimes I can't walk without very strong painkillers, and I don't think at age 44 that's the way to go. So there's some things that I need to do and need to change, and that really challenged me how I'm going to do that. So that's one of the things
Okay.
that I would really like to do. I mean, but that's one, and and I think and the interesting thing, right? Have you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
No, but I know of it well.
It's a great book, right? And it's about how you create a great habit. Right? And it also says never if you say uh, I want to have a six pack by the summer, right? That's the wrong goal. The right goal is I want to go to the gym every day, or I want to go to the gym 5 times a week,
You know what's
because
interesting?
it's about that,
I
right?
I thought that too, and then I went to the gym 5 days a week, and I didn't get a six pack, and so I
Well,
was
you
just
don't. Well,
like,
there's a problem is because you still
uh,
had the six packs in the back of your head, but the chances of achieving that six pack, right? If you're even genetically, able to do that, because many are not, and that's a whole different story. Is much higher when you don't set that one goal. Plus, also when you set that goal and achieve it, then usually you stop. So it's about creating that habit, and creating a habit, I think, takes 60 days, 70 days, some say 100, repetitions of it. But I think at least 40, and I think more about 66 or whatever, right? And that's what it takes, right, to actually establish a new habit. And you have
yeah,
to do it every day. And then if you miss out a day, where you can still do it. And many people then, fuck, I missed out on a day of either journaling because that's it, or not drinking. And it's about keeping on going, and not setting the bar too high also, because then when you fail, you get demotivated and you stop doing it. So I guess, to answer your question, I am kind of in the camp of, I think goals are great, but I don't believe in that once a year thing. I'm wondering, are there ways, to actually, you know, bring change with, from that reflective period of time. And I think, yeah, that's interesting.
you know, I w okay, bit of advice, or at least I'm learning for myself, maybe it's the way my brain operates. Last year, I entered 2025, and there's something about, declaring a theme. So I declared it the year of making, and I said I need to make on all fronts, professionally, creatively, etc. And I think part of this podcast is so part of the reason why creating this with you was so easy is because it was already aligned to my goals. Not that you can't welcome other things, but there's something about the Uber, giving yourself a theme that you can wrap your head around, which is, to me, I guess, is really also about a story, a little smaller story that will motivate you. It's like, what is this year for Paul? What is this year for Marc? Is it about um, rewiring? Is it about mobility in all fronts? There's something kind of interesting about that, that you can attach a lot of your resolutions
I
to.
love this. I love this. That's a great one. I mean, and I want to add to this, is about taking two or three things, not more. It really few, and it's also, and
Yeah,
it's the same is true for everything that you lead I think, in a job, and taking,
totally.
and basically it's, what OKRs do for a company, and so you can basically do OKRs for yourself too. Is the same thing, right? You
Hmm.
say, what are two, three goals, and how do you achieve them, and break them actually down, and make some, and try to get the activity in, right, and not the goal, and how do you make the habit out of it? And I think, to me, that would be it. That's one thing. But, and the other thing, what you just said reminded me of, was a friend of mine sent me something on this topic, and it was and we talked about Chinese New Year, right? That is happening this year on the 17th of February, by the way. And what I didn't know, I don't really, obviously, I'm not Chinese, so I don't know. But you know what? It was very true for me. Last year, 25, was the year of the snake.
Mm,
And what is incoming is the year of the horse.
mm,
And what I find very interesting that, the year of the snake is also that you change your, at the end of it, you change your skin, you
interesting.
renew, you kind of it's a lot of readjusting, rebalancing, re-getting into something, which to me is very, is a great is a great analogy actually
Yeah.
for what happened in my life. And then the year of the horse is a whole different animal. It's about speed and power and execution and freedom and independence and visibility. So you want to get out there. So I think that's super interesting.
So cool.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
super
I'm
cool.
vibing on I'm vibing
Yeah.
on these themes.
Yeah, and what I also
Mm.
really liked is, and then she sent me this screenshot, and it says, I'm reading it. This is not resolution season. It's about January, right? This is the phase of the deep exhale. After a year of internal alchemy and facing our venom, right? The snakes begins to loosen its grip. You're no longer who you were. You are not yet who you are becoming. It's the uncoiling of the snake. If you ever wonder what this time is for, it's not for pushing forward this time. And this is meaning, this period before the new year comes in is clearing, decluttering, letting go, becoming still, being present, and basically, preparing for that new year, um, and uh, and then starting it with full force. And I love this also because I find that we always run into Christmas in full speed, and then 10 days later, or not even like a week later, we expect everything to be different. How? You actually never have the space, because we all know we fill this time then with family or travel or something,
Mm.
and then from the 1st of Jan, all of a sudden everything should be different. How is that gonna work? It doesn't work. It can't. So I love that, giving yourself some, if you want, slack or room in January or whatever, define the period, make it mid-February, doesn't matter. To say, you know what, now I'm just taking this time to clean up my shit, to calm down a little bit, to see what's really important to me, and then take it from there. So I love that. I think it's really awesome.
I agree. I think it would be really helpful if January were framed more like that. I think in general, to your point, like it's actually go is February 1. You know,
Yeah,
Jan-
yeah,
like February is that the real reflection you get to do the time, because also as when you're in South Africa, I was here, like the time with family is precious, but you're not doing shit, and nor should you, by the way. You need to like recharge. I was watching movies and etc. and um
exactly.
play with my kids, that kind of thing. And yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I really like that. And then it also made me think of old ritual. No, I was wondering, how, since when humans made New Year's resolutions. And it dates back to Babylonian times. So,
Really?
it's not crazy to do that. And,
Right.
and, and it is a cycle. It is
Huh.
the cycle, the full cycle of the sun, or of the earth around the sun, as we know. But so it signifies something, right? It is the
Uh,
next year of, bringing, planting your seeds, getting new crops in and so on. So there is something about this, a new beginning, that's very natural. So is every moon, by the way, right? And so
yeah.
so you could also talk about a monthly ritual. So there is something there, and we're not crazy doing that. And in fact, this year I did an interesting one, which comes from the Alpine regions, and my ex-wife told me about that. And it is basically, translated, is called the rough nights, and it describes the 12 or 13 nights, which also mark the difference between the lunar year and the solar year, right? With the
Mm.
lunar year, obviously, is 12 times 28, and then with 365 or 66 in the sun year, and so the difference is 12 or 13 nights, and it's called die Rauhnächte in German. And they happen between the longest or the shortest day of the year, the 21st of December in the Northern Hemisphere, and the 6th of January, so today. So on that 21st, you sit down and you write down 13 wishes. And you know the things that you wish for to happen in the next year. You write them down, you close them, these papers so you can't read them. And then on the 24th or 5th, I don't remember, you start every night to pick one randomly, don't read it, and burn it. And the wishes you burn, the universe will take care of them. And one remains unburned. And that's the one you're supposed to give your
Focus.
energy and focus to. And I
That's
did
so
that.
cool.
And no shit, it was the one wish I wish the universe would have fucking taken. so I opened it.
Sharing what it was?
No, I'm not gonna share that.
Okay.
But it was the one I really wished the universe would have
just took
taken.
over.
But I think it was a beautiful ritual, and there are so many. If you think of the 12 grapes, I think you have in Italy and in Spain that you eat, and there's so many things there about New Year. So I think, to me, there is something about it. I guess the way we do it in our time and age is probably not the most efficient or effective way of actually bringing about any change. Let's put it like this. That's kind of where I sit on that.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. The business of renewal and reflection is an interesting. So, like, what do you think people want most from these? Like from making these resolutions? Is it just is it impact? Is it to hold themselves accountable? Is it to really set themselves on the path of change? They're different. Like, I'm trying to get underneath, like what are people
Well, I
really
think in the
yearning
first place,
for?
there are things that people want to achieve. They want to look better, feel fitter, be more healthy, have more money. Yeah. So I mean, as we saw from the that's kind of
So basically,
that's kind of the outcome.
There's the bottom half of Maslow's hierarchy, which, by the way, is actually interesting enough.
Yeah. So that's the thing. And then I think, why the resolution? Because obviously you're not happy where you are. You want to change something. So there's a clear, I think, change trajectory in that. And then I think a lot is about communicating, and is about that, making it transparent to, also your inner circle or your circle, so that you feel more responsible of actually, what's the right word now? Yeah.
Accountable.
Thank you. More accountable for that. Yeah.
Do you think? Okay, maybe this is getting at a little bit itch I have with resolutions. Like the root of them is some, at least as you described, some level of dissatisfaction. That you're trying to address, and I'm not sure. Like, that's and I think that's what bugs me about them. At least how they tend to manifest. I want to be. I don't like how I look. I want to be skinnier. And don't like what's in my bank account. Versus, like, this is like the thing I want to become, and like everything else, which requires me to do these things. But like, it's more of a level set, kind of an outcome when you.
Yeah,
You get where I'm
and the
going?
feeling is kind of the
It's
things,
a
and it
framing.
was, at least for me also, it was always the things that you should do, but you never come around to it. So, like, next year, I finally have to do this colonoscopy, which is true in my case. I still have
Yeah,
so
me
I need
too.
to do it.
I'm supposed to do it
So
next month.
next year, I still need to do that health checkup. Next year, I should really drink less. Next year, I should. So it's all the things you kind of never come around, and I think that's where this. And then you've probably said this for the past 5, right? So it has kind of a negative connotation, while yeah, I also think it's the framing of it. I don't think it's
that's where I was
I'm not
going.
against the process itself, and I think kind of history teaches us it's not completely stupid in a cycle of renewal to think about renewal. It's how we execute on it and how we
Yep.
do it. I think
Yep.
is that's kind of the big one, right?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
not like I read somewhere that 67% of all gym memberships that are being signed in January are never used. 67, that's 2/3. That's
Crazy.
nuts. Yeah. And that's
Nuts.
totally useless. I mean, it's great for the gym dudes. And there's a reason why they only do 12 or 6-month memberships, right? Because they know no one's actually coming back. But there's got to be a better way. I think that's where I'm at. When I think about the work you do, and I did sometimes, about how we do this for companies, we should do this for individuals, right? In a sense, a strategy workshop for the next year, and kind of have a 3-year one and then break it down.
That's a great business. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's
I
what all
think,
these retreats
I
are
love that
for.
idea. It's like a really powerful, um, I don't know, it's I think people want a blueprint, that they can follow versus an abstract, you know?
Yeah,
So
and what's kind of then though coming up inside of me, and which I really learned this past year, and which I'm very grateful for, is the act of letting go and trusting the universe a little bit more. And
totally.
and but which
Courage.
also comes, yeah, which also comes with, it doesn't mean it's like, listen, I let go and I don't give a fuck anymore. It also comes with manifesting what the outcomes should be, but then also always giving your best and trusting, a little bit that things are going to come, which they really came my way, this past year, I gotta say. And you have just way more room to enjoy what's
Mm,
happening. So I don't, but it's always very hard to explain also when you talk about this, and we should probably do an episode about this again. What does it mean to, kind of hand over some of the responsibility to the universe? Doesn't mean you don't have any, and you shouldn't have any goals or any dreams or any visions, right? It's more about how you go about them, and also how you take a failure, and how you handle stress, maybe, and all these things. I think it just kind of changes the perspective. So, but I'm
fascinating.
still kind of trying to navigate this space between, well, something's gonna happen, which is really okay, and having clear goals, and then maybe being also frustrated when they don't work out. Yeah.
There's
So I
something
don't know if that
about
makes sense.
no, it is the tension of what you're well, especially in transitional years, about what you're actually doing and committing to versus trusting the universe to deliver is an interesting tension to figure out.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask you this before, like,
Yeah.
we kinda close this thing?
Yeah.
What is a share of time when you've actually declared a resolution and executed on it?
I would have to say, I don't know. I was thinking about, even about last year, I didn't do it. No, I'm serious. That's why I'm
Yeah.
also not. That's why I kind of was in agreement with your first statement, because I never have. And then as the time went by, I kind of flipped, and thought maybe I just need to do it in the right way.
Mm,
I need to focus on less and actually do it. And I've also never really looked back and said, what went well, what didn't. I guess in a sense, I had a resolution for my sabbatical, which was to let go, and to, and to try to do nothing, and to try to focus on the things that bring me joy. And that was almost my resolution for 25, which also developed as I went.
mm.
Looking back, I did pretty well on those. So yeah, that would be a time. But other than that, I was never a big resolutions guy, because I don't like failing so much. Didn't even, so I didn't even start. There's always the best way of not losing is not playing the game.
Exactly. Never play a game you can't win.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
How about
fun.
yourself?
I think, in 21, just one that comes to mind, I was like, "Hey, you've been ruminating on writing this television pilot for some time. Like, this is the year you actually have to do it." And I did, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now that I
Yeah.
understand what it takes to do something like that, to declare, to make it, like, without an obvious payoff, any one of those things is, to me, feels like um, I draw on that energy. But again, two things were at play there. Like, yeah, I guess it was a resolution. I wanted to make it. If I had to do it over again, it's like I would level it up as like, hey, this is the year you're taking your all those creative ideas that you kept swirling in your head and you're putting them on paper. It might be a little bit different thing. And then the
Yeah.
tangible focus is
Sorry, go ahead.
helpful. That's it.
So, but how are you gonna go? How are you going into 26 in terms of resolutions? It was a year of the making. Do you already have something, or are you gonna take January to figure it out?
No,
Is
I
that how we punted
do.
in this
That's
episode?
a yeah, no. It's exactly. Talk to us about it. I think I'll share this as much. I think this is the year of answers, and so I've been making a lot, and I think we're going to learn whether or not, and even including this podcast, what people respond to and love, and we're putting things out in the world, and um, I see it's a year of answers, and I see it's a year of definitely being way more out in the world than ever before.
Wow,
So
nice.
high level, you.
Nice. No, I guess it is the year of execution too, in a sense, to me.
Mm,
I
mm.
like the year of the horseman. I'm gonna go with the Chinese on this one. I mean, they thought about this way before we did,
They
or I
did. They're
did
really
at
good at what they
least.
do.
So why not just take it? They really know
Yes.
what they're doing, you know. So I'm going with that. It really resonated with me what was in there,
Mm.
because 25 was kind of learning a lot from me on how to
We should post it on our
uh,
Instagram page. It's a great idea.
approach life in a bit of a different way, and I'm just very curious to see what that's gonna mean. And to be honest, I don't quite know yet. I know, this podcast is one of those things, but I do have a feeling there are a couple of things out there that I don't know about yet, and that's where trusting the universe comes in. And I'm totally fine with it. I'm actually excited about it. So it's to me more, and I'm gonna use this January to declutter and to really think what is important to me, and not in terms of goals, how much money I save or make, and more into what do I want to experience, where do I want to be as a person, and what are the things where I want to put my energy towards too, and then see what unfolds that kind of brings me to that point. That's how I see it. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Very
It's awesome.
excited. Very
This is
excited.
fun.
And mobility. That's just a must have because
Mobility. Yeah, exactly.
if my fucking back hurts like it did in the past 2 weeks, that's not gonna be good. In any case, talking about the Terminators and the idiots of the weeks, anything that comes to your mind, my friend? How you want me to start?
Uh, so it's hard. This is it's really hard not to do
I
something
have so many.
non-political. This week,
Why? What's happening? I don't know. I really didn't read the news, to be honest. I was just like, oh shit, man. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, so I'll do a classic New York Terminator and an idiot of the week. I think idiot. Uh, I have no idea what we're doing in Venezuela, like by us, the U.S. Like, I mean, there's. I think most Americans can't put that out on a map, but definitely. So
Yeah.
let's just because I don't believe there's a plan. I'm just going to put idiocy. Just stamp on that. I'm sure. Crazy thing, just as a byproduct, Maduro is being tried like literally a 10-minute walk from here. So like it's bananas. Like kind of how the world politics just kind of hits my backyard literally. It's just kind of a funny thing. But Terminator of the week is I got to shout out the New Yorker. He was on. He was just one of the best things. He was being interviewed in local news about what he thought about the Venezuela thing, right? And it was like literally, well, I think he was arrested. It was on Saturday, and they were interviewing this guy Saturday afternoon, right? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Here's what I do. He's like, I don't know what I think about it, but here's what I do know. Is like all these people protesting it, they're idiots. They're all paid. Like who hears news and like gets the signs out and says no to Venezuela within 6 hours, right? They knew what was happening, all paid. And I love a good
A good conspiracy.
a good conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, it's like you just have to
It's
put
a
it
great
out there,
viral video. It's hilarious.
something's gonna stick. Something's gonna stick. But what are mine? Mine are very obviously travel related. I mean, I would have said my Terminator of the week is, it was probably South Africa as a destination, as politically difficult a place it is, which is kind of I would say the one minus that you always kind of have that in the back of your mind, but it's a great
Mm,
family destination for everybody living in Europe, also quite easily accessible with an overnight flight. Beautiful place, very, very nice. Just it was a really, really, really fucking cool place.
no,
Hit
jealous.
of the
Never been.
week. I don't know, man. Airlines still handle luggage. I don't know because I had an hour and a half layover in Zurich and nobody knew where the fuck my suitcases are. 3 are here, one is not. And then you call the people and it's like, we're sending
My
you 3.
God.
What about the fourth? Which fourth? It's like, there's a fourth. It's a different case number. It's like, and it took 2 people 15 minutes on the phone to sort out 4 suitcases. I mean, if you extrapolate this, that can't work.
I can't. I can't.
It's like, that's
I think
the
like
fuck.
okay. Things I do not want to be in life is on like there's a long list, but I would say in the top 10 is on the opposite side of a phone line to you when you're upset.
As we speak, I just got an email though. So Austrian Airlines, your lost luggage, what did they just say? That's actually quite cool. Has arrived at the airport. That's the last one
Wonderful.
because 3 were already delivered. And then I thought, actually, it could be a pretty cool service that, because what is nice is that I then didn't have to carry all the suitcases out.
Mhm,
I went home without my suitcase. I didn't have
mhm,
to do dirty laundry right away and feel bad about not doing it because, first of all, I took a shower and a nap, right?
mhm.
So that you have this as a service that someone brings your shit the next day. Why
Great
not?
idea. Why
Why
not?
not? The next day, you just have to bring the things you really need, like probably your washing stuff. Anyways, that's something to think about, and like a what's it called, valet service for your
I
suitcases.
I I love this po you've been bubbling with ideas today. I love it. It's great.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to the next one. Let's see if we can get a guest in. Let's
Yeah,
organize that.
I love that. That's a
All
good
right, man.
teaser.
Here we
Alright.
go. All
Big
right,
hug.
man.
Happy
Take
New Year.
care. Ciao. Ciao, you too.